Let's go ahead and get into
We're
the
moving right
bracket
in.
reset. It's going to be Noctowl into Altaria, these two flying type Pokemon taking to the skies and seeing which bird is the bravest.
All right, well, at this point, the Dragon Breaths add up a lot faster than the Wing Attack, so we're going to see the fast move pressure favoring the Altaria, but the Noctowl is able to pace to charge moves a little bit faster. Last time we actually saw a Hot Pocket favoring to throw the Shadow Ball first, this time instead going for the Sky Attack.
I was going to say it's so interesting that these two flying type Pokemon prefer their non-stab charge moves. We see actually the Sky Attack come out, a second Sky Attack come out. I don't actually like NHoff not throwing her energy yet because her health is now so low, she's going to be pressured to and might potentially make a mistake.
So I think the two Sky Attacks are going to be enough for this Noctowl at this point, but it does translate to a soft lose for this Altaria that could translate to a lot of energy from a farm down perspective. But I like this play from NHoff, not only just throwing the Sky, don't throw the Sky Attack right away, let a couple more Wing Attacks come through so that her HP is that much lower. A much softer loss now, so that it provides less energy, less farm for the next Pokemon coming in, and it is going to be the Azumarill. These are resisted bubbles, but just enough to get a lot of energy for this next matchup.
I like bringing in Azumarill there. The resisted bubbles allow that Azumarill to get more energy because the bubbles aren't doing very much damage. Right. We see a no shield onto this Lickitung. Makes a lot of sense. It's very bulky. We see an immediate switch out into the Sableye. I honestly like NHoff's backline a lot here. The Sableye doesn't have many places to go.
Okay, well, at this point, this Lickitung still has a great matchup versus the Sableye, so you might be thinking, oh, trainer, swap out. You've got the Fairy versus the Dark type. Well, it actually, in the 2 shield with 2 baits, the Sableye can actually take the matchup versus that Tapu Fini. So I don't mind this play whatsoever from NHoff staying in. It may only be for a little bit, but might actually now bring out the Tapu Fini, and that's exactly what we're going to be seeing. Storing some energy for later on, still needs to knock out the Azumarill, but this is a much more manageable position to water gun down this the Sableye now for this Tapu Fini.
I would be surprised, honestly, to see Hot Pocket throw a return at this point, given that foul plays do a reasonable amount of chip damage. He reaches for the return here, actually, and if... Oh no, NHoff does not shield it. This is going to do a massive amount of damage to her Tapu Fini.
The counts may have been off here, but yeah, that's going to be a ton of damage, and now actually bringing back in the Azumarill, only going to be able to make it to 1 charge move at this point, so we see the Moonblast coming in. This would be a lot of damage coming out versus the Azumarill. Probably a little bit more scared of the Power Whip, lets this one go, and going to be able to get another bubble down. This is 2 incidences now where this Azumarill has been able to farm down with resisted damage to get a lot of energy.
This Lickitung is unfortunately in a very tough position. It's going to need 3 charge moves in order to win this game. It's probably going to need a Body Slam bait somewhere. It's going to need a Power Whip to land probably on this Azumarill, and then also another Power Whip on the Sableye.
Yeah, at this point, you have to make a decision as Hot Pocket. Do I want to try and hang on to this Azumarill? Yes, indeed. We see the shield on the Power Whip, no bait whatsoever, and able to make it to the next Power Whip as well. Okay, no Protect Shield. This will be enough to knock out the Azumarill. We saw the Sableye throwing the return. I think that 1 foul play is going to be enough. It's going to be a race to the finish, though. Do you get to the Body Slam or do you get to the foul play first? Which one's going to hang on here? This is a race here. Gets to the Body Slam, but no, the foul play at 1 HP, able to take the victory. Hot Pocket Sableye will take game number 1.
Survives with 1 HP. I was actually incorrect. It did not require a Body Slam bait against the Sableye because the Sableye was so low on health, the licks started adding up. They are doing a lot of neutral damage to it.
Be still, my beating heart. These matchups are so incredible. All right, well, game number 2 is underway. We are going to be moving into these battles here. On our left, we are going to be seeing the Tapu Fini from NHoff face off versus the Metachamp from Hot Pocket. We saw this last time, actually. Hot Pocket able to reach 3 Psychics here and take the matchup. An incredible victory on his side, one that we were not expecting. The thing is that these counters add up so quickly. Despite the water guns not being resisted and these counters being resisted, it's just a better move. We're going to be seeing NHoff actually no shielding and Ice Punch. That is huge for the side of NHoff.
You see, NHoff is very surprised by that bait, but Hot Pocket had gone straight for the Psychics. Last time we see another Ice Punch bait come out here. Another huge no-shield from NHoff, going to be able to really put the pressure on Hot Pocket here. Hot Pocket is potentially going to lose his Metachamp for no gain other than half of, or 2/3 of the HP of a Tapu Fini.
Well, at this point, I think that you're going to be able to outpace to a Moonblast before a Psychic, but we have an Ice Punch coming out. NHoff knows the counts on this one, knows this is just another Ice Punch, might be able to hang on, but I'm worried about these counters that they might be enough. Going to be trying to get this Moonblast here, but no, actually goes for the Surf instead, takes the Consolation Prize. This will not be enough to knock out, and once again, this Medicham is actually going to win this lead matchup, but we see the second Protect Shield come out from HotPoket, willing to go down 2 shields to 0.
This is actually huge for NHoff. She has a Koforgigas, which can basically completely farm down. We see that the Sableye is still in the back, and if NHoff decides to stay in this Galarian Stunfisk matchup, which I completely expect her to do, given that a Mirror is honestly a worse position to be in than a Koforgigas versus a Galarian Stunfisk, she's in an amazing position.
Yeah, at this point, I think 2 Shadow Balls are enough to knock out. You can probably invest 1 shield here pretty safely. We see HotPoket now going for yet another bait. This is probably the 20th bait that we've seen here come from HotPoket in this particular game. Trying to get to this Earthquake, but let's see if NHoff once again knows the counts. Yes, she does. Knows that this is not an Earthquake. This is a non-stab Rock Slide coming through. Able to have no problem tanking this, and now going to be able to farm up some additional energy. Goes for the Dark Pulse. This is not going to be the harder hitting move, but it's actually the lower energy move. Going to provide a little bit more energy for this next matchup. Only had to use 1 Protect Shield here. Still looking very good at this point.
Yeah, we have an energy advantage for their Koforgigas. It's going to be able to reach the Shadow Ball right before the Foul Play comes out, and I expect an immediate switch out from NHoff into the Galarian Stunfisk to try to get an energy advantage against the Medicham.
Yeah, at this point you risk getting farmed down, so we're going to see this switch out very early on. Right now, I think that if you're taking a look at what's going to be the hardest hitting charge move, it's this Foul Play right here. Go ahead and use your Protect Shield Trainer. So we're going to see now it's a lot of energy on this Medicham, but this energy doesn't go too far. Ice Punch is going to be your best move. We actually see a Psychic come through, might be slightly more damage than this neutral Ice Punch here, maybe going for this attack debuff as well. All we need to do here from the side of NHoff is get this Earthquake off. No real extra energy here. The question is this Sableye going to be able to reach a Foul Play and knock out, and will it be able to hang on versus the Koforgigas?
I think the Galarian Stunfisk is out of Foul Play range, and I think what HotPoket was doing there was reaching for the defense drop. It's going to be pretty close. Those Shadow Claws have started to add up. It's going to come down to if this does enough damage, and it does not. The Galarian Stunfisk hangs on with 1 HP, and the Sableye is going to be knocked out by this Rock Slide. The set is tied up.
We've never even gone to 2-0. This never gets more than 1 game away from being tied. What an incredible game. Yet again, another 1 HP game. No shocker there. It's really interesting because when I look at HotPoket's team, the 2 counters to the Tapu Fini that I think of is the Lickitung and the Azumarill. We've been seeing the Medicham acting as that counter time and time again. All right, well, this time we're seeing the Azumarill in the lead, lined up versus the Galarian Stunfisk. A good matchup here for the Azumarill, but what it makes me a little scared of is that Tapu Fini looks so much better in the back, knowing that this Azumarill is going to be getting chipped here in the lead.
Yes, this Ice Beam is coming through. It's going to do a nice amount of neutral damage to the Galarian Stunfisk. The Galarian Stunfisk going straight for the Earthquake. We've seen HotPoket call in a Rock Slide earlier. It is going to not be shielded here. It's going to do a good chunk of neutral damage. You see that 2 do not quite knock out an Azumarill.
Yeah, it's going to be a race to who can get to this next charge move. Will it be the Ice Beam? Will it be the Earthquake? Both trainers wanting to throw at the appropriate timing here. NHoff going to be the first to reach the move here. Going to be coming in with his charge move. Will it be the Earthquake? Will it be the Rock Slide? Oh, and it is the Rock Slide, and we see the shield come out from HotPoket using the first Protect Shield. A nice play from NHoff.
I really like that bait from NHoff, given that we've seen HotPoket really like winning the Azumarill versus Galarian Stunfisk matchup in the back. We see a swap into the Water Fairy, and the Noctowl is brought out. We've seen this matchup plenty of times before in the past, and what do we have in the back?
Yeah, so taking a look here, we have the Medicham that's going to get lined up, I believe, versus the Altaria, which is not a great matchup whatsoever for that Medicham. Still able to hit for double super effective and shields down scenarios, able to do some impacts here, but right now, we've already seen 1 shield come out from HotPoket, not going to have too much to protect it.
And you see HotPoket sweating about this decision. A shielded Moonblast is very good for him. That would have done a lot of good neutral damage. The one issue, though, is that NHoff still has a Galarian Stunfisk from that initial match. matchup, and I am not surprised to see a no shield on the Sky Attack, given there is still that positive matchup. And I expect her to think that Altaria is pretty safe in the back, though, oh, never mind, she comes in with the Altaria.
I gotta say, HotPoket, once again, throwing in perfect timing just before NHoff was able to reach that next serve. Both of these trainers, absolute precision watching them play this game. All right, but we are gonna be having the Sky Attack come out from the Noctowl. This is gonna do some nice chip damage versus this Altaria. Take it pretty low, and this is now going to be bringing back in the Azumarill, trying to get to this Ice Beam, and actually a nice catch from NHoff. Doesn't have that much energy, but decides, hey, I wanna go ahead and preserve this here. This Galarian Stunfisk, rather, still has a purpose.
Honestly, a bit surprising to see her go for the catch and then shield, but it makes sense because she has so much energy. The Earthquake is now coming through. She has built up extra. There are no shields on HotPoket sides. This is going to knock out the Azumarill, and we see that a Rock Slide is unfortunately not reached by that Medicham.
This is tough here because you're very close to being in one Ice Punch range. Going to be going for the Sky Attack here. I don't think one Moonblast knocks out. Probably needs to go for 2 Sky Attacks, but I'm very worried. We talked about this in the shield down scenario, and one Ice Punch can be devastating. This is double super effective damage. Keep in mind, I don't think that this Altaria is going to be able to hang on. Let's see if it's able to hang on with 1 HP. No, goes down here, and HotPoket taking game number 3 in a 2-1 series lead.
Yeah, a bit of unfortunate maneuvers by NHoff made it so that Medicham, even though it wasn't in a positive matchup going up against that Altaria, was able to thrive due to its double super effective Ice Punch. We've been through so many best of 5s that have gone to game number 5, and we're seeing game number 4 here. Primate into that Stunfisk, a huge lead for NHoff.
Do my eyes deceive me? No, they don't. We are seeing our first action from the Primate here. Going to be bringing in the Noctowl right away. Going to be going for, I believe, a super effective Ice Punch here right away. Already taken some pretty big chip damage from these wing attacks, but I think that we're going to be seeing a chip and dip here, throwing the Ice Punch and maybe swapping in. Interesting, staying in though. This Primate, while it is a good answer to that Galarian Stunfisk, NHoff does have another answer, Alpha Phi. That is the Tapu Fini.
I expect NHoff to shield this Sky Attack and farm all the way down. Those counters do so much damage, even though they are only neutral, coming out with a lot of energy. I would expect HotPoket to come back in with the Azumarill and NHoff to pivot out.
I really like this play. The recognition, the acknowledgement that Primate, after landing that Ice Punch, can farm down the normal subtyping Noctowl despite being a bird. Okay, well, this is a bit tough now here. Going to be thrown. We haven't seen this move yet, so it could be anything, but it is the Night Slash. That's not going to go very far versus the Azumarill. Maybe expecting the Galarian Stunfisk there, but opting to stay in here because at this point, you want to make sure that you have the alignment that you want. Despite having used a shield, you still have a Lickitung that is going to get lined up versus this Azumarill. Good matchup, and then you have the Tapu Fini versus the Galarian Stunfisk. Things looking good for NHoff right now, but don't count out HotPoket. Still has a shield advantage.
One of the nice things about the way that NHoff has played this out is that Lickitung really does not mind eating charge moves from HotPoket's Azu. We see a swap out into the matchup you were talking about earlier, Wholesome. Tapu Fini versus Galarian Stunfisk. The Galarian Stunfisk is taking so much pressure from these water guns.
Yeah, and you just go straight surf here. There's no baiting, there's no debuffs here whatsoever. This is a very predictable matchup. It's water gun plus surf. But what HotPoket has the advantage of is that he can go ahead and try and be a bit deceitful and try and throw some of these bait moves, and actually is successful here, able to take NHoff's final Protect Shield, wanting to preserve the HP of this Tapu Fini. But now we're going to have to start eating. Okay, I'm a bit surprised by this play. What it may be is, though, that we need to have a Rock Slide and an Earthquake to knock out. So this does put it now into Earthquake range. Going to be needing to probably use the second Protect Shield here and then land the Earthquake.
What's very interesting is it looks like HotPoket is reaching for another Rock Slide. You are correct. One Earthquake is not quite enough to knock out. We see a bit of an overfarm into this next Rock Slide. The one issue is this is not enough to knock out the Tapu Fini, and the Tapu Fini is going to continue to put water gun pressure onto this Galarian Stunfisk.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised by this play here because these water guns are adding up. Yes, you're going to get to another move here, and you do switch out that Galarian Stunfisk, have some energy. We're going to be able to probably throw another Rock Slide. I don't know if you're going to make it to an Earthquake late game, though.
I don't think so. I think the Rock Slide, of course, is going to be enough to knock out that Tapu Fini, but that Tapu Fini is so close to that next serve. We see that the Azumarill is able to reach a second Ice Beam before that Lickitung is able to reach a Power Whip. I think the Power Whip will do a lot of damage. I'm not sure it'll be enough to knock out the Azumarill, though.
Okay, so let's see this Power Whip come out now. Keep in mind, this is super effective damage. Probably not enough to knock out the Azumarill, but it is low energy, so probably going to be able to lick down and really not take too much damage from these bubbles whatsoever. Get closer and closer to that body slam. Right now, you still need to land an Earthquake if you're going to be HotPoket and try and win this matchup. Goes for the Earthquake and actually gets there, but no, it is a CMP tie. Actually wins the CMP tie, gets this Earthquake, but you are now completely energy dry. You've got 1 HP left, and hey, there's still a third Pokemon on the side of NHoff. It is that Tapu Fini hitting super effective with that Water Gun and able to tie up the series 2-2. We are not going to be seeing any 3-1s, no 3-0s. We are once again going to a Game 5 here in the Grand Finals. It all comes down to this.
I swear, these battlers must be colluding. Every single best of 5 today has gone to the 5th battle.
But that was not the case. Either way, able to take the victory. Folks, this is it. It is Game 5. It all comes down to this. The energy is electric here in Peoria. We have the Galarian Stunfisk into the Lickitung.
This is a matchup we've seen time and time and time and time again. I'm saying time more than the number of licks that it takes to get to this Power Whip. An Earthquake comes off. It's been such a mind game here to shield or not the first charge move in this matchup.
All right, well this time, I think we saw actually NHoff last time throw the Rock Slide, which went unshielded, but now throwing the Earthquake, which gets shielded. HotPoket figuring out all the strategies here, able to get the proper shield and now land the Power Whip as well.
The one thing I really like from these team compositions, though, is that NHoff has Tapu Fini and Lickitung in the back, which pairs up very well against both Azumarill and the Galarian Stunfisk. Switch is not important to her. I would expect that if HotPoket, given having shielded once already, I really like where NHoff is here.
I really like having 2 shields on a Pokemon that has high fast move pressure, something like a Tapu Fini. The biggest threats to that Tapu Fini from a fast move perspective are probably going to be either Lickitung with its licks, the Sableye with its Shadow Claw, maybe even the Medicham with its counters. But right now, we're looking like we're in a pretty good spot here and probably expecting the Azumarill somewhere. Those bubbles don't add up too quick. Here comes the Lickitung versus Lickitung Alpha Phoebe.
The one issue with losing lead there is that NHoff does not have any great Pokemon to bring into this Lickitung. I do prefer the Lickitung switch in, given that you are not threatened by either charge move on HotPoket's Lickitung.
I think that what we're going to see is this Lickitung just absorb all this energy on the Lickitung from HotPoket, but HotPoket, I like what he's doing here, and he's making sure that he's preserving some energy, never throwing a charge move without some reserve energy as well. So even if NHoff switches into the Lickitung, already going to be close to a Power Whip no matter what.
I think this Body Slam is not going to be quite enough to knock out HotPoket's Lickitung, and I think NHoff is going to get a pretty nice lick down afterwards. She's going to be relatively close to another Power Whip, and we're going to see what a 2-shielded Tapu Fini can do.
All right, well, you've got some energy on your Lickitung, and you've got a 2-shielded Tapu Fini. Right now, we bring in the Stunfisk. Don't want to have that Azumarill with the threat of that super effective Power Whip. Going to be taking all of this damage. The Galarian Stunfisk. It may come down to the battle of the Water Fairies here. Tapu Fini into the Azumarill, but no, we're staying in here. HotPoket determined to get a shield here. Once again, throwing a Rock Slide time and time again. At this point, NHoff knows that this is a Rock Slide, but doesn't know what's in the back, doesn't know if it's the Azumarill, but it is. Here comes the Azumarill. These bubbles are resistant, saving 2 shields for these charge moves.
I think NHoff is very happy with that no-shield decision, given that Rock Slide will do less damage than any charge move coming from this Azumarill. A Moonblast coming through. It is going to be shielded. That is a great shield option by HotPoket. However, the bubbles really don't do that much damage to Tapu Fini.
Okay, but keep in mind, this Galarian Stunfisk still has a decent amount of health. It's not quite in range to get knocked out by Surf, and slowly but surely, this Tapu Fini is getting closer and closer to Rock Slide range after these bubbles start to add up. All right, but no shields remain at this point. Right now, we're going to be seeing this Moonblast come out. This is not enough to knock out. The question is, can this Azumarill get to 2 charge moves? It has the Ice Beam loaded, ready to go. This will almost assuredly take the next shield, but what are we going to be seeing here from NHoff?
Oh my gosh, that attack drop makes this so complex. She's going to no shield the Ice Beam. That's going to put her critically low on health. She's not going to be really threatened by these bubbles, as I've said before. Will she decide to throw a Surf here? It's actually another Ice Beam before anything else can happen. She has the Surf loaded. The Lickitung still has a good amount of health left. I don't think there's a combo play available to HotPoket here.
Okay, well, banks the move, almost at a Moonblast as well. This Lickitung is going to be reaching for this Power Whip, going to be able to get there just before this Rock Slide, but no, we have a CMP. This is a CMP. Rock Slide going to be coming through here. Is this enough to knock out the Lickitung Alpha Feed?
It's going to be so close. If this Power Whip goes through, that puts NHoff in a great spot, but it does knock out the Lickitung. The immediate throw of the Surf from NHoff. Will the bubbles KO first, or will the water guns?
Okay, this Surf's going to come through, and it actually does knock out the Galarian Stunfisk, but right now it's Bubble. This is coming down to the timer at this point. Can you get there? No! We have HotPoket taking the game number 5. He will be our grand championship here, Peoria. You see our 2 trainers hug it out. What an incredible series. 3 series we saw between these 2 trainers. Ultimately, HotPoket able to force the bracket reset and take the game 5 victory to punch his ticket as the grand champion.